dazed and confused, where it's like, where it's just a crazy day. I'm like, no, I don't, I need time to pass.
That's
I need
such a
like more
weird
build.
criteria. Okay, let's keep going. All right, we're doing it. It's another edition of Cash's Top 5. Today, I am joined by my dear friend, Emily. Hello.
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. It's
Yeah,
November of 2020. This is the longest and only pandemic I've been through.
it's a good point. How has it affected you, if it has?
um, I still get to come into the office, but no one else does. So on one hand, I get a lot done, but on the other, it's really boring.
So your brag about pandemic life is that you still work.
Is it a brag?
That's my point.
I don't, I don't know that I have a brag. Like,
All right.
look at me in this pandemic.
Well, that's fair. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this. We're still kind of figuring things out, but it's mainly just for fun. I always love ranking things. And I remember, I'm in Pensacola now. I used to live in Indianapolis, worked with Emily for several years, and we have gotten into several discussions where we compare and call each other names. We don't necessarily always have the same opinions on things. So I thought this would be a fun episode. I know it'll be a fun episode, and Emily chose this topic today. What do we got?
Teen movies.
Now, when we do teen movies, you were like, do we want to make this 90s? Do we want to make this 2000s? And you decided, let's just keep it open, which made this incredibly hard.
Yeah, mine are gonna range from 99 to 2012.
See, now my issue is I'm probably not going to have any newer stuff. Um, I'd have to think about it. I won't have
They
much
just
that's beyond me being in high school or college. But
they just keep getting worse, so
well, and we keep getting older. That's probably why they're getting worse. So okay, top 5 all-time teen movies, which I guess we're going to get into what exactly defines a teen movie. So we'll get started with yours. What is in your number 5 spot?
bring it on.
Okay, let's go into it.
All right. Why is it so? It's really hard to be like, here are my top 5 because there are so many, but I couldn't not put Bring It On in.
We'll do honorable mentions at the end. So,
Okay, well, I've got them.
we may have some crossover. Now, I assume Bring It On is because you have you have a long history and background in cheerleading, right?
Yes. Like 90% why I picked it. And it's not even, well, and that's the thing, like, if you were really a cheerleader, like, that is not how it works. But every cheerleader loves it, and I was a teen when I was a cheerleader, so like it made a
Yeah.
weird amount of sense. No one dresses like that though. Like we were never allowed to, like, they've got like cropped stuff. Like in high
Oh,
school,
right.
they're
Yeah.
like, make sure you wear leggings. It's cover up,
Yeah.
ladies.
Well, and
Um,
I noticed when I was looking up lists of teen movies to do, one of my criteria to eliminate some were if the teens were played by actors that were just too old. Like I feel like that's how they can get away with, like, because you're right, the way teens dress in movies, and I just thought of one that's not on my list that I need to include on my list. Damn it. Uh, they don't dress like that. You're right, because those are adults in a movie.
because they're
If you
allowed.
Yeah, if you actually cast 15 or 16-year-olds, like it would look like little kids on screen.
Yeah. Um, no, that's just it's just an easy go-to movie, and there's beef. It's quotable. I can't tell you how many, like any cold day in Indy, like you're gonna see at least one tweet from somebody local who's like, "Burr, it must be some Tauros in the atmosphere." Like, I get it, and I'm
Okay.
there, and I'm transported right back to. Hold on, because I can tell you when it was from. Because you're a little bit nerdy, so I had to get the years.
Oh,
It's
I
from
appreciate you
2000.
matching. It's from 2000.
I, in 2000, was in first grade.
Oh my God.
So like I've watched that through the years and it's still not wildly relatable, but it's good.
That's fair. Yeah. Okay. So your number five is Bring It On.
Yeah.
My number five, and I legitimately just remembered, and it's one of my all-time favorite movies. I don't know how I forgot it because I don't know, like I said, what makes a teen film. So my number five is Angus.
I literally don't know what that is. And I knew this was going to happen with you.
Yeah. So I get it. People are gonna, oh, you're just picking that because it's, a dark horse. Nobody's ever heard of it, and it's a deep cut or whatever. Like, no, legitimately, it's not well known. It's not a good movie. Like, it's not. But there are parts of it that are so funny and it's super quotable. It's a shame that it didn't get more fanfare. But basically, Charlie Talbert, who this is pretty much what he's known for. I think he's like a character, like he does little role parts now in TV shows and movies, but he plays a big dude in high school, like a really big guy. And he's the nerd. He's really smart. He gets made fun of, and he's got this little pipsqueak best friend who Chris Owen went on to play Shermanator in American Pie, I think is the series. He was the Shermanator. At the beginning of Van Wilder, the kid that's going to jump off the roof, he's got braces and red hair. Anyway, he's in it. Uh, Ariana Richards, the blonde girl from Jurassic Park, is the homecoming queen. James Vanderbeek plays like the asshole quarterback. Kathy Bates is the mom. George C. Scott's the grandpa. It's a great cast. It's not that good of a movie, but it's very funny. It's very quotable. And as a bigger guy, I'm like, yeah, Angus, that's my boy. Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, which I'm sure you haven't, seek it out.
Nope. That sounds like this baby is so ugly, it's cute.
Yeah, because it's yours, right?
Well, apparently this is your movie, and you're the one who got today. You got excited with Carly Pierce about this is why you shouldn't go for the smooth talking guy. You should go for the awkward dweeb. And you're like, yes, this is my movie.
Thank you. Yes, that is exactly correct. Okay, so Angus, my number five. Your number five. Bring it on. What do you got at number four?
I have Pitch Perfect at number 4.
Oh man. Now hold on. It's been a long time since I've seen them. That's a high school a cappella group, or is it
Damn
college?
it. They're like freshmen in college.
That's still pretty teeny.
You know how old I was in college? 17, so it counts.
No, that's fair. I will say though, that's one of those movies where the actors are definitely way over teenage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
God, when did it come out?
2012.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I was a senior in high school when that came out.
Wow.
And coming from here we go. I came from show choir, and it's essentially, I mean, it's a cappella, but it's essentially show choir without the band behind you. And now I'm starting to see what I go to. I'm like, oh, this is just who I am.
Yeah.
No, but like there's like such good like choreography in it that like if you were a kid, like if we were doing teen TV shows, like the comparable thing to that would be Glee.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it like when I was in high school, like that's what I wanted to be. I was like, this is so cool. And what's nice, like it's so classic because like they're losers. The Barden Bellas, they suck. And then of course, like everybody makes fun of them, and then they get so much better. And when you're a senior in high school, you're like, oh, like this is great. This is exactly what's supposed to happen. The world was also supposed to end that year, so that probably helps
Mhm.
too. I was like, oh, good. The world didn't even end, and we have Anna Kendrick.
We should probably fact check that. I just came out 2012. I don't know if that's right or not, but
I looked it up.
oh, it is
Like,
2012.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, perfect. Uh, I went into that not thinking I was gonna like it. It's acapella, whatever. It's not. I'm not the target demographic. That doesn't mean I can't enjoy it. And I remember really liking it a lot.
That movie introduced me to Ben Platt, who is ridiculously talented. And of course, he plays the nerdy dweeb that no one pays any attention to. And now he's playing the hot guy on Netflix and stuff. So
That's how it goes, man.
well,
Okay.
what's your fourth?
My four is the one I forgot. Not only did I add it to the list, but it leapfrogged one. I had to take off 10 Things I Hate About You. Yeah, no, I know. I love that movie, but when I'm being true to myself, I got to be honest. And number five is Angus. Number four is The Girl Next Door.
Okay, when I was Googling stuff, I saw that one and I don't think I've ever seen it.
Have you
I,
heard of it
I
at
just,
least?
I've heard of it. Who's in it though?
Alicia Cuthbert is the girl next door. Emil Hirsch is the main kid. He's like the valedictorian, goody two shoes, president of the class, whatever. Paul Dano is great in it. He plays a nerd. Chris Marquette is the dorky, horny, porn obsessed, wants to be a movie director friend. And then
Yeah.
Timothy Oliphant is the bad guy. Uh, it's man, it's just one of those movies that I can watch over and over and over, and it's still got some heart to it, even though it's kind of skeevy with some of the stuff they talk about and some of the scenes. But some good quotes, really great soundtrack, which I really put a premium on. If a movie has a really good soundtrack, I think that's such a big part of why we connect to it. It's got a great scene with Sweet Home Alabama when Timothy Oliphant has stolen some money and he's getting away and he's just smoking a cigar, driving with the top down. There's Under Pressure, Queen David Bowie. Filter, Take a Picture, just a perfect cruise kind of song that just you want that person you love more than anything to be passenger side right next to you. It's a really, really good movie. There's a lot more to it than what's on the surface. So that's my number four.
I'm wondering if the next three that you're going to name, if I've even seen them.
I know you have at least seen two of them, probably. I would
Well,
hope, but we'll see. It depends. People watch what they
we
watch.
will see. Well, and I have been accused of living under a rock. I didn't I didn't start knowing stuff until I was on the radio and I was like, I should know some things. I
You
should really
should
find out what's going on so I can tell everybody else.
branch out a little.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, what do you got for number three?
Mean Girls.
I
I feel
knew
like you had to have known that was coming.
I didn't know where it was going to rank, but I knew it was going to make the list.
You
Tell me about
can't
it.
that was just genius on Tina Fey and Amy Poehler's part. Not only has it lived on, but I'm just like it had so many like classic pieces of like, oh, you're the new kid at school and oh, there's a bully and now you're losing your friends and all of that. But like then you look at like each specific character and I just feel like they did them so well. Like
Yeah,
Rachel McAdams, I've never seen her. Can I cuss?
sure. Yeah, do your
I've
thing.
never seen Rachel McAdams be such a bitch in any other movie because she's always like the like sweetheart and everything. And she
Yeah.
just like nails Regina George. But like somehow that movie did such a good job of making the supporting acts like matter to you. So like we all know who Gretchen Wieners is. We all know who Karen is. Glenn Coco wasn't even a real like thing, but we all mention it. And I just feel like the character development in that movie, I don't know if they like knew it was going to be so successful, but here we are talking about it in 2020 and I'm just excited about dates. So this came out in 2004.
Yeah.
And again, so I was in fourth grade and it was not appropriate for me to watch, but you bet your ass I did.
Absolutely. That's one of the ones we've named so far, I believe, has probably made it into the cultural lexicon more than the others.
Yeah.
Uh, the You're So Fetch, Stop Trying to Make That Happen, You Go, Glen Coco. I have a personal attachment to Mean Girls because my birthday is October 3rd. So every
Yeah.
year That's Mean Girls Day. And I always remember like, oh yeah, he asked me what day it was. It was October 3rd. On Wednesdays, we wear pink. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's a really, really good movie. It didn't make my top five. That's not to say I didn't love it, though. That's a really good choice. I knew you're going to have it. I thought you might have it at number one, but now
I
I'm
thought
really
I might have it at
curious.
number one too, but I'll tell you why I have my number one and my number two where they are when we get to them.
Okay, good. Okay. So my number three is, and this kind of floated around. This was, I had to be honest with myself. And number three for me is Super Bad.
I considered that.
Yeah.
Why?
It hit me at just the right time. It came out the summer of '07. So it was, or no, it was like the fall of '07. So I was a freshman at Ball State and I had like come home to visit, and my brother and I went to go see it. He's like, dude, I saw it once in the theater. I'm going to go see it again. Let's go watch it. And it was such an original story. It's so funny. It's kind of interesting though. I did a top five with our friend Nikki Reed there in Indy, and we did our top five most irrationally hated celebrities. And on my list was
So
Seth Rogen.
specific.
And so this is really hypocritical that I would want it on my list. Uh, but it's amazing. It's so funny. It holds up. And I will also say, has a great soundtrack. It kicks ass.
It would be like you to be like, I just love the soundtrack of this movie.
I can't help it. Like when I hear Casey and the Sunshine Band, um, or oh, what is it? I can't remember what it is, but it's the opening theme when they're dancing. It's really good. I like it.
That's one to rewatch for me. Like I won't ever forget like McLovin or
Yeah.
the like plethora of phallic drawings, but
Hmm.
I just like I could see how that's in your top five, mostly because you're a dude.
Yeah. Well, this it's probably my Mean Girls. You know, as a chick, you're gonna have Mean Girls on your list. I'm gonna have Super Bad because it introduced the world to Emma Stone, and the world will never be the same in a good way, in a very good way. Okay.
She's somebody that people have told me that I look like, and I don't see it at all. It's very confusing for me, and I don't get it.
I don't understand that even a little bit, other than you guys are
I've
kind of not redhead.
we both have faces. Like I've gotten it from like at least five very different people. And every time I'm like, I've gotten that before, but can you explain why? And they're like, no. And I'm like, so you're just all right, you're just making this up.
That's really strange that multiple people would do that, because then you would be like, oh, well, there's got to be something, but I legitimately can't pinpoint what
I've I've looked
that
at us
is.
next to each other and I'm like, I don't see it at all.
And you don't, well, and you don't
Still.
have any of her mannerisms at all. Like you don't have her kind of a speaking pattern. Like she's got kind of a lisp or something, like a kind of an impediment that you
Yeah.
don't have. I don't know. That's really strange.
Maybe people
Um,
love Emma Stone and they just want to see that love in me.
hey, take that. That's good. Uh, okay, we're kind of getting towards the top now. This is where it gets kind of cutthroat. Number five, you've got Bring It On, four Pitch Perfect, three Mean Girls. I have no idea what this is about to be. What's your number two?
Number two is She's All That.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why
Um
does that rank higher than the others?
mostly the nostalgia factor. It's from 1999 and I've been watching it. So, this. I have three sisters. I'm the third of four.
Mhm.
And we all like gravitate toward the same movies because we watched the same things growing up. Um, and we still quote that to this day. Have you seen it?
I have seen it, yes. I don't remember it being that quotable, but
Oh my goodness.
I'm
Well,
clearly
and also
forgetting.
though, I feel like we kind of like my sisters and I have a tendency to like quote like the dumb parts, like not necessarily the quotable parts. Um, like if you've seen it, maybe you would or wouldn't remember the weird like art show they do with this like sheet over top of everybody, and they're like, be
Yeah.
silent, be still. Well, I actively tell my 3-year-old nephew, I'm like, be silent. And then somebody else will say, be still. Like,
Okay.
no, like a lot of people probably wouldn't think of that in that movie. They'd probably think for have a latte, vote for Taylor, which is also great.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do remember that now. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I remember enjoying it, but that was one of those where I didn't see it at the right time. I saw it kind of after the fact. Like I was like, oh, that was one of those movies that slipped through the cracks. I'll go ahead and watch that now. And I'm like, okay, this isn't, I didn't catch it at the right time. That's not to say it's not good. But I also didn't remember the quotas. But now that you say that, that does make sense.
Well, and it also because I really had to think about my top two. It
Mhm.
also has these like classic moments where you take the nerdy girl, um, and you basically take her glasses off of her, and you're like, "Wow, Lainey Boggs, is that you?" And they've got the whole like walking down the stairs. She's in a red dress, and she's going to like homecoming or prom, and it is so corny, but
Mhm.
it's like just right for a teen movie. And her her mom passed away, which I started to realize that's like a key thing in teen movies. They're like, gotta nix one of the parents so you can make them sad.
Is that, yeah, I guess so.
Like, let's see, what were my this isn't in one of mine, but Clueless popped up when you look up like classic teen movies like Her Mom's Dead,
Yep.
A Cinderella Story with Hilary Duff, Her Mom's Dead. Um, what is it? I don't want to, I can't bring up the next
Okay. Angus.
number one though.
Angus is a, his mom is a widow. Super bad. I think Michael Sarah's character is, it's a single mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought of that. I think She's All That is a Nirvana pick for you. Like people love Nirvana because they were the first one to do that, and all the copycats that followed. She's All That was the first one to have all that stuff that's now cliche, but it was the first one to do it, so it gets a pass. That makes sense.
I don't even need a pass. I'll just keep watching them. I just congratulate She's All That on being first. But like if you want to make it again, sure, I'll watch it.
Okay, no, that's fair. Okay, so we're getting into it now. My number two, I had to kind of grab. Well, it's going to continue the theme that we've kind of talked about on my list so far. Number two for me is Dazed and Confused.
Why don't I know any of yours?
Have you not seen Dazed and Confused?
Who's in it?
Okay, it's from 1993, so this was like the first big movie for a lot of these folks. But Parker Posey's in it, Matthew McConaughey, Ben Affleck, the guy who played or roommate Eddie, the crazy roommate on Friends, Adam Goldstein, Tony Rapp, Mila Jovovich, um, uh, Giovanni Ribisi's sister. But it's it's in 1993, but it's set in the 70s. And it's one of the Landon London, Jeremy London or Jason London plays the main character. And they basically have a kegger. There, somebody was going to have a house party. The parents come home earlier. They don't leave, so they have to move the kegger to a park, an abandoned wooded area, and it's just a single night. Being in high school in the 70s, they're cruising up and down the road, going to the gas station, going to try to go get beer. They go to the pool hall. They all end up in this field and in the wooded area for the kegger, and it's just an amazing soundtrack. It's all classic rock. It's all great tunes from back in the day. But regardless, it's just it's one of those things. Like when I listen to the Mamas and the Papas, like California Dreamin', it makes me nostalgic for a time that I didn't exist in. Like I didn't exist in the 70s and I didn't experience any of that, but that movie makes me wish that I had, and makes me think, oh my God, that would have been, there's no freer feeling in the world than being 17 with a license, your buddies, nothing to do with the next couple of days, and you're just cruising, you're just having fun. It's a really, really great movie.
The soundtrack though. Man, you like music so much, you should be in radio.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. Yeah, I didn't realize that soundtracks would be a big part of this, but I guess that's kind of part of it. Okay. So
that's me learning about my life. I'm like cheerleading and show choir, cool.
hey, it's what you connect with, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, we're down to the final one, the top of the mountain here. So far, your top five, you've got Bring It On, Pitch Perfect, Mean Girls, and She's All That. And I honestly, I'm trying to think of what it's about to be, and I have no idea. So, your number one teen movie is what?
Well, it got knocked off your list because it's 10 things I hate about you. I was like,
Yeah,
my top movie?
talk
Look,
about it.
look. Well, and it's gonna be a connection thing because it's the two sisters. Again, mom's dead.
Yep.
But two sisters, I have sisters. And one of them like wants to go out and be cool, and she would literally change herself to be cool, and the other one's like, you are a freaking loser, just be yourself. And she's like artsy and mean, and which is kind of almost a mixture of me, because in comparison to my sisters, I'm the artsy mean one, but like
Okay.
out in the world I'm like, oh, let's do cool stuff. But then you put Heath Ledger in it and you make him like the dark guy that nobody really understands. And he does the whole musical number Down the Bleachers. And
Hmm.
you're like, Heath Ledger, oh my God. Like he's not even like really attractive, but they made him attractive. And that's amazing. Plus Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it.
I
And
was
I'm just like,
waiting for
yes.
that.
Well,
Was
he was
there
nerdy in it.
so you have an initial love of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the kind of wispy, nerdy, awkward guy, right?
Yeah.
I knew it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I'm watching these, I'm like, oh, that guy's cute. Oh, that guy's cute. Oh my God, he's so bad. Like
Yeah.
things like that. Um, but no, it's just like it's got all the classic things. But I like that it's sisters, and then they both go to the prom and they both do like dumb shit. Um, I don't know. And then there's so many moments in it. Like um the actual 10 things I hate about you list, where she's like,
Yeah.
and I hate the way I just love you so much.
That's
And
iconic. It really is.
yeah, and you can't really, and honestly, that's why it's number one, because I can remember that one the best, which means it is the best for me.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's really great. The scene where Heath Ledger's talking to Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and I'm gonna butcher the quote, but he's like, "Don't ever let anyone feel like you don't deserve what you want or you don't deserve to be happy or whatever it is." You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and I would butcher the quote too.
Yeah, but it's that scene, it's that quote. Always really stuck with me. I love that scene.
Well, it's
Man,
cool because you got the cool guy talking to the nerdy guy, and he's like being nice and like, I mean, giving unsolicited advice, but still,
yeah.
it sounds like the cool guy thing to do.
You
Ugh.
know, this is going to be probably a cop out. Uh, I don't know that it absolutely definitely is a teen movie, but to me, I think it's kind of on another level of that's just a really good movie. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Have you watched the James Bond movies at all? Okay. Yeah, I figured I'm a guy. I figured you hadn't. But I always say my favorite Bond movie is Casino Royale, but the best Bond movie is Skyfall because it's not a Bond movie. It's more of an actual movie, if that makes sense. Because there's a lot of gimmicky stuff that makes Bond movies what they are.
Okay.
Teen movies are, like the She's All That, the American Pie, the ones we've mentioned. 10 Things I Hate About You, I feel like is deeper than that, even though it is a teen movie. It doesn't have some of the silliness. I don't know. It's a really, really good movie. I couldn't bump anything off of my list for it, though. That's the problem. Girl Next Door, needed to make the list.
I was like, forget the list. 10 things I hate about you. Number
um,
one. Well, so what's your number one?
okay, so my number one, going back through, number five was Angus, which you've never seen. Girl Next Door, which you've maybe heard of. Super Bad, which you've seen. Days of Confused, which you've heard of.
I
Never
don't even
heard
know
of.
that I'd heard of it.
Okay. Number one, going away, is Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I knew you were going to pull that. I just knew it.
How?
Because I thought about this when I was putting my list together, and I'm like looking up stuff just to make sure I'm not forgetting about anything. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. I didn't forget about anything because if I remembered it, that's why I liked it. But I looked at
Good point.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and I'm just thinking, this seems like something Cash would pick. Noted. I have seen that movie, and
Yeah,
I
I
think
know.
it is so overrated. So I would love to know why it's your number
What?
one.
Well, no. Before I get into it, how is it? Why do you think it's overrated?
Because, okay, I don't like the movies where it's literally, and this is what you were talking about with Dazed and Confused, where it's like a single day, where it's just a crazy day. I'm like, no, I don't, I need time to pass.
That's
I need
such a
like more
weird
build.
criteria. Okay, let's keep going.
But,
That makes me mad. Just on the record, for the record, that makes me mad that you fault a movie because it's in one day.
well, but that's not it. That's not
Mm.
all of it. But I think
Okay.
everybody just way oversells it. And I saw it pretty late. Like, I didn't
Mhm.
see it as a teenager. I was probably in college when I saw it. And I was just like, this is it? This is what people are excited about?
Wow. See, so, but to know that helps, because I know people that they didn't see The Princess Bride and they saw it way after the fact later in life. And they're like, why does everybody, why is this movie so beloved?
I was one of those people with The Princess Bride. So
So
I think it has a lot to do with when I saw it. So when did you see it?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off,
Mm-hmm.
as early as I can remember. Like, it'd be on TBS or teen. Like, it was one of those movies that was on TV a lot on
Oh,
cable.
yeah.
So I was a kid, probably not getting some of the jokes, but he was just the coolest. And the the scene where he takes over the parade and dances on the float and they do twist and shout, like, that's the coolest thing that could ever happen. Like, I used to daydream about being the kid that would like lead a group thing on a bus or do something funny in school or whatever. Like, I looked up to that character so much. I can't believe, okay, so you saw it, you didn't grow up with it, so you don't have this nostalgia factor. It takes place in one day, which clearly, for whatever reason, is there another thing? Is there anything else you didn't like about it?
Is that Matthew Broderick?
Yeah.
I'm not wild about Matthew Broderick either.
What? I can't I can't fault you for that because you like who you like, but what did Matthew Broderick do?
He, I'm not gonna lie, he reminds me of a person,
Okay.
and that doesn't help.
Okay.
And the person that I'm thinking of is like sort of boring, and and that's not Matthew Broderick's fault,
Sure.
but that's totally what goes through my mind. And I'm like, this guy's like not that great. And yeah, cool, he had a really great day. But
I'm so pissed. I'm so mad. Like, the fact that you like, I'm fine with the fact that you don't like it or whatever, but I don't know, I feel like you kind of are actively against it.
I I had to when I was looking at all these movies, I'm like, haven't seen that one, don't care. Haven't seen that one, don't care. And what by like and then I started seeing ones that I have seen, and I'm like, that one was all right. But I knew we would run into this, so I thought about it because I was like, well, I'm not gonna go on your podcast and and be like, oh yeah, great about everything you say. So I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna bring a debate.
Good. Well, no, I'm glad. I just, that bugs me. And the problem is like, we can't, like, you probably can't go and watch the ones now that I've mentioned that you haven't seen. Or I'm a little bummed that we did teen movies and you haven't seen so many of them.
But
I mean, you,
I knew that was going to happen, so it gave me a list.
that's fair. And you did have a really legit top five. So just to revisit my top five, we've got Angus, Girl Next Door, Superbad, Dazed and Confused, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Wonderful movie. And Emily's top five teen movies of all time: Bring It On, Pitch Perfect, Mean Girls, She's All That, and 10 Things I Hate About You, which is a really great list. Now let's talk honorable mentions. Let's wrap this up. What did you want to have on the list? What did you write down, but unfortunately didn't quite make it onto the list?
So I wrote down 8. So I have 3 that didn't make my top 5.
Okay.
I had High School Musical on there, which came out in 2006. So I was
Okay.
right at that. Like I was in 6th grade. I remember I was at Lauren's birthday party.
I
Like
get it.
I remember it so well. And I was in that like growing up stage.
Mhm.
Plus it's a musical. You've heard my others. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
So
there's
okay,
choreography in it.
you have there's a lot of nostalgia attached to that one. I get that.
Yeah. Well, and plus it did well enough. Now the ones after it were not as great as the original High School Musical, but the fact that they could do that and people kept watching them,
Yeah.
I think that speaks to the power of the original.
Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't make the next ones good, but it doesn't take the original one away.
Right.
Um I also had Hairspray. Uh again a musical.
Ugh. Your list is,
Really?
yeah, no thanks.
Why?
Are we talking the original or the remake?
No, we're talking about the remake because I'm talking about 2007.
Clearly there was a period in time where you were really attached to movies that came out where there were song and dance.
Well, and it was cool and they sold, so I bought.
That's fair. That's fair.
Um no, I think a lot of that just has to do with the fact that it's a musical, and because it's a musical, I mean it's just like a singable quote.
Hmm.
So it's easy to follow. Plus, um I feel like that got a really this is a little bit deep, but John Travolta playing the mom, I feel like opens some things up. Even though it was like comedic, now we're seeing more like trans actors. Like, yeah,
Okay.
13 years later. But I just thought about that and I was like, huh,
So
that
less,
might have helped.
yeah, less entertainment value, more actual sociological and cultural impact.
That's right.
Okay.
I have a I have a little bit of culture. Not in my top 5, but
Sure. So, okay, what's the third one?
I had one more and it was A Cinderella Story with Hilary Duff and Chad Michael Murray.
I never saw that one.
I'm not
I
surprised, but
think I know I remember hearing about it, but no, I never saw that.
well, I mean, it's a Cinderella story, so it's Cinderella, but except she
Right.
works in a diner and she's like all sad, but it's also Hilary Duff, and you're like, she's cool as hell. And she's supposed to play a loser, but at the same time, makes it
So, I found out recently that I'm a really great friend because of Hillary Duff.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Why?
Hold for applause, please. So growing up, my best friend Brad had a huge crush on Hillary Duff, Lizzie McGuire, all the whole nine. Uh, because that was my best friend's girl, I realized, oh, I can't have a crush on her. That's Brad's girl. So I never looked at her in that light before. But I that wasn't a conscious decision. That just naturally happened. It wasn't until recently I saw her on a podcast promoting something, and I was like, damn, Hillary Duff can get it. And I was like, why have I never thought of this before? And I was like, oh, that was Brad's girl growing up. So I
Oh
made a
my god.
decision to never go after my best friend's girl, and I am a great friend.
You had guy code ingrained in you. And then
Yes,
Brad's married with children now, so you're like, Hillary's all mine
she's fair
and
game.
pregnant right now.
Let's not talk about that right now. Okay. Let's keep it happy. I'm shocked that you didn't have Grease on your list if you love musicals and song and dance, and
It's old. And when
that
I saw it, I couldn't appreciate it as a youngster. Like
that's
I
fair.
don't remember when I first saw it, But hey, I got John Travolta in a musical in there, just not Grease.
There's not a John Travolta minimum that we have to, there's no quota that we have to meet here, but that makes sense. If I had to guess why you wouldn't have included probably the most famous musical for high schools ever is because it's old. Also, it wouldn't make mine because I do love Grease, but they're all 37 years old playing high school kids. Like
The memes on that are so good.
they look really old, so that ruins it for me. Um, I had American Pie as like basically the whole series. I was a big fan of it. It didn't quite crack. It would have made my list if those others didn't exist. Clueless, I remember really enjoying. I remember being in love with all the chicks that were in that movie. I thought Paul Rudd was really funny. I felt like kindred spirit, kind of uh, my sister had friends around, so I was like the dorky brother. Um, I s- I'm a little surprised kind of that this didn't make your list, although maybe you probably haven't seen it, is The Breakfast Club.
I don't like that movie either.
What? It was on my
Cash,
list before I started filling in the other ones. What's wrong with Breakfast Club?
how long does that movie take in a
Oh
time?
my god, because it's a single day. You are so weird.
That's so dumb.
Oh my
That's
god.
dumb.
Have you ever
Like,
seen
it makes
Training
sense,
Day?
but like, okay, if I like painted this as 5 kids have detention for a day, watch that movie. Like, yeah, I'm underselling it, but that's what that movie is.
What? Okay. Pitch Perfect. A bunch of college freshmen sing with no instruments. Come on, man. You're ridiculous.
Well, no
And
one's singing in Breakfast Club, they're only dancing.
I cannot believe you don't like movies based on that.
It's not an end all be all, but it's something I'm
It
noticing.
sounds
I'm
like
like,
it is. You're like, I don't like that movie because it takes place on my day. Okay. And my last honorable mention was it kind of doesn't count because it's a spoof, but Not Another Teen Movie.
that comes up every time you Google teen movie.
It's so funny. It's the first time I saw Chris Evans in anything, and he's obviously great. Uh, it's really, 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 really funny, but I was like, it's spoofing. It's a satire of the series. Probably shouldn't include it, but it is great. I do like it a lot. And it spoofs She's All That quite a bit.
Oh yeah. I feel like Not Another Teen Movie is almost, it is very, it's an adult movie for
Yeah,
adults to make fun of teens.
that's fair. Yeah, it's not technically a teen movie because it's not another teen movie. It's an adult movie, but it is very funny. Okay. I'm trying not to hold this against you personally, but I really do like your top five, even though you have some weird criteria. You've got John Travolta quotas and you need multiple days to process this story, but I like your top five. Emily, where can everybody find you if they want to follow you?
I'm at Emily on the Radio on Instagram and Twitter, and just don't even look for me on Facebook because I gave up on it.
That's the best thing you could have done. All right. Thank you.
Nothing good happens online.
That's a fact. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you.